Hello, I'm Michael Boyajian, and I'm going to be talking about a new release that should be coming out within the next 30 days, titled Survivors of the Armenian Genocide, subtitle Photographs of the Now Distant Past. And basically, it is not a documentary and book of Armenian photographs of survivors or even of in general Armenia. It's not documentary at all. I got the idea from an article in the New York Times about a woman doing a similar project, but on the art side of things rather than book format, for Holocaust survivors. And she assembled 200 Holocaust survivors. Again, that's happened many years after the Armenian Genocide. In fact, it's almost 110 years now since the Armenian 1915 genocide. So there's no survivors left for all practical intents and purposes. But the book still has their photographs. And again, it's not documentary style, but based on this artist in the Times, who is doing slideshows around New York City 24/7 on the sides of buildings and like the Brooklyn Bridge, etc. And it's quite popular and quite successful. And the artist said to herself when she was coming up with the project, the concept, they won't be able to rip this down. And you can't rip down a slide projection, okay? So I said, if my late wife Jerry were alive, she was an artist, we might be able to do a similar project for the Armenian Genocide survivors. Not putting up contemporary pictures, but pictures from the past. But she's not here, and I'm not an artist, so what I could do is do a book version of this. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm having trouble. Here's my cat, by the way. If you see a tail walking behind me, that's my cat, Percy. Say hello, Percy. But there's the tail. Anyhow. So I could do a book version, and again, I'm having trouble explaining the idea to people. So that's why I'm doing this video, and I have the introductions as more of a roadmap, and then the postscript is the same thing. It's, hey, you've completed the path. Now you got to go back and take another look at things in order to see the purpose behind the book, which is not like a database of Library of Congress or the Armenian Museum in Watertown or the Armenian Museum in Yerevan or the New York Public Library's database for Armenian photographs. It's art. It's art. So I am limiting it to 200 pages in size and so many pictures within that size. Within the introduction, the forward by my genocide scholar uncle, Gary A. Kalanjian, and then the postscript and various other texts like Joe Biden's actual actual statement in 2022 acknowledging the Armenian Genocide, which is a major thing. And then also medical reports on the now accepted view that, medical view that there is something called civilian post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and it includes Holocaust/genocide victims and their descendants, which would fit the Armenians into this. And now you have the need for reparations to pay off these medical bills for the last 106 years or whatever it is, 110, because it's passed down to future generations. It throws the hormones out of disorder that deal with stress inhibitors. Okay, and not just Holocaust victims, but Armenian genocide as well, and other traumatic events. I won't go into the details. I have some complaints about the overall diagnosis, but anyhow, and there's that. Now, because of Turkey's proxy Azerbaijan going, having a meltdown and going super violent against the Armenians, destroying the priceless catch cars, which are the funerary stelas, smashing them into tiny bits and in the middle of the night, putting them in dump trucks and dumping them somewhere, is insane. And they're a proxy for Turkey. And so I'm like, okay, well, you want to throw the gloves on the ice, use hockey vernacular, fine, that's okay with me. Then reparations are definitely in order for at least healthcare. And then we're on the bandwagon with the Armenian Museum and then the Promise Armenia Institute in California out of UCLA, which is looking into the looting of Armenian art during that 1915 time period, before and after that period, as well as on that date. Much as the Nazis stole Jewish artwork, so did the Turks steal Armenian priceless artwork also. And it's got to come back. And we're on full board with them as if we were monument men. And in any event, what you do is once you go through the book and the pictures, the postscript says, okay, what do you do now? You go back through the pictures. Look at each face. I'm not picking them out intentionally. They're randomly put in there. But each face shows a cherubic disposition, very harmless, innocuous. Why would anyone want to kill 1.5 million of these people? They were harmless. They were teachers and other types of professionals. They were not a threat to the Ottoman Empire. There was a small minority, along with the Greeks who were also massacred, and the Kurds who were still undergoing trauma there. And again, if you're a dominant super empire, why are you being threatened by a couple of, there were 3 million Armenians in the total world at that time. So how is that a threat to something on the scale of the Ottoman Empire, and that you had to kill 1.5 million of them? And it's still going on today, this hate for Armenians. And it's beyond Christian, Muslim type stuff. It's just hate, The only thing I could see is we were westernizing rapidly, and the Ottomans were hesitant. And part of that was because the Gutenberg press at that time was inadequate in printing the full scope of Arabic language script. It did not capture the intricate weaving of the script with the language and with the culture, which is done now with computers easily. That's how you had your what was it called? The Arab Spring. That's because of the technology. In fact, Turkey refused back then to take Gutenberg presses offered to it by Europe free. It's because they didn't do an adequate job. And then they did take them finally and did a condensed version of the script, which is like reading a Reader's Digest abridged version of, Huck Finn by Mark Twain. It's not going to work. You get a story, but you don't get the themes, the plots, the symbolism. Same if you're reading about Moby Dick. You get a story about hunting whales, but not the meaning behind it, not the allegory. But anyhow, that's where it's at. So yeah, go back and look at the pictures a second time. Look at those faces, smiling, happy, or neutral. Certainly not aggressive looking. Certainly not threatening. Certainly not dastardly looking. Harmless. And they were just targeted. And that's the purpose of the book. It's an art book. It's not a documentary book. It's not a history book. It's art. Art based on the history of a catastrophic event. Thank you and have a nice day.